I'm Kat.
I'm Hayley.
And this is Night Classy, the podcast where two teachers unwind, sip wine, and each teach a lesson we can't teach at school. What are we drinking, Hayley?
Paso Robles Cabernet Sauvignon Austin edition.
Austin, does that mean like Austin, Texas? What does that mean?
Who knows? I don't know.
What if it's just like a man named Austin, like mixed it? And they put his name on there.
It's just a guy named Dustin who wished his name was Austin.
I would too if my name was Dustin. There was a kid that went to my high school named Dustin, and everyone called him Crop Dustin.
Oh, no.
I know.
No.
Pretty, yeah. I would not want that to be my name.
Although the description of this wine on warehousewinesandspirits.com does have the word dusty in it, I do not feel that way about this wine.
It was described as tasting dusty.
The full sentence is, lovely notes of sweet oak, lively acidity, and fine dusty tannins.
What?
Complete this wine. Yeah.
Do they mean like minerally? Because dusty just sounds bad.
Dirty.
Dirty.
Yes,
Yeah.
it sounds dusty. Dusty sounds dirty.
Dusty,
there,
musty, crusty. I don't get that at all from this wine. This wine is like super sweet. To me, it tastes fruity.
It is. It's a dessert wine,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah, it's sweet
Pretty
and
bold.
thick.
Yeah.
Which like Cabernet Sauvignon, that's not usually sweet and thick, is it?
I
guess
no clue.
I don't really know either.
All I know is that a Cab Sauv is red wine, and if it's red, then I'm good to go.
Yeah. Wasn't John's favorite wine a Cab Sauv? Isn't that what we got for him?
It was a Petit Syrah.
Oh,
Or
okay.
Syrah.
I guess I just literally don't know anything about wine, which is true.
All I know about wine is that when I'm drinking it, I'm feeling fine.
Yes. I was reading something the other day, and it's like on Bachelor in Paradise, Hannah G was drinking white wine mixed with Red Bull, and she called it happy juice. And it was like disgusting, but like they had to stay up like all night to shoot, and you wanted to stay loose, so you just drink that, and I will never forget that.
That sounds like it would get the job done. I literally had a full afternoon of my college orientation where they lectured us about not mixing alcohol with uppers.
Oh my God.
So
you're like, so I can mix alcohol with downers. Got it.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Like the writing emoji.
I'm listening, I'm taking notes. Okay.
Perfect. Got it.
She got the notes too, clearly.
Anyway, we got this from High Point Grocery. We were literally just there. We picked up our next 5 wines, and they are all beautiful. We are excited to drink them. And High Point Grocery is our amazing sponsor. They are local to Memphis. So if you are in Memphis, especially East Memphis, check them out. They are located at 469 High Point Terrace. And how much did this bottle of wine cost?
$17.99.
Ooh, she's fancy.
She is.
Fancy girl. She tastes fancy.
She does. I'm ready to just chug. Not actually. I cannot. But it is very good.
I'm ready to chug. We're going into a 3-day weekend.
Oh, yes.
God
Yes.
bless the veterans. Thank you to those who served. It's Memorial Day. And yeah, I'm excited.
Me too. Mentally, I'm ready to chug. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Metabolismistically.
And you have to get up early and drive tomorrow.
I am not driving
Oh,
tomorrow.
good. So you can actually, it's probably best if you chug and then you're hungover tomorrow and you sleep in the car the whole way and then just wake up in New Orleans.
That would be a dream come true.
Yeah.
I've always dreamed of waking up hungover in New Orleans.
No. You sleep off your hangover in the car. You like briefly wake up a few times to chug Gatorade and eat McDonald's fries and sleep. Wake up in New Orleans.
That sounds so good. I haven't had McDonald's fries. I don't even know how long it's been.
Same, because they're not vegetarian, so I literally haven't had them since I was like a baby.
You're not really missing that much because you can have fries that are vegetarian, but McDonald's fries just
I know.
so crispy.
Yeah, everyone says they hit different, probably because they are flavored like beef.
Probably. That's probably it.
Yeah. But I am jealous of all those who eat McDonald's fries. It's a dream of mine.
You'll be all right. But yes, going to New Orleans tomorrow. Very excited. A 3-day weekend ahead of us. 2.5 weeks left in school for us this year.
Oh, thank God.
What a journey it's been. Thank you all for sticking with us in our insanity through this year.
This podcast has been like my anchor. Like I don't think I could have gotten through this year without it.
Yeah. We have end of the year forms for our school where we have to answer different questions. And one of them was just asking us to generally reflect. And I was like, dear diary, although this year has been extremely difficult. And goes on for like 10 pages.
Yeah, it's weird because like on one hand, this year has been easy. Like I missed having my students in person and getting to build relationships, but it made my workload so much easier because I wasn't having to prepare like paper materials. I wasn't having to hand grade. Like the computer was able to grade everything and I was able to use all these programs like and just make everything easier in that way. But then like just the stress level and like not knowing the expectation. And it was just like a weird combo of like some things are much easier and also some things are 8,000 fucking times harder.
Yeah, everything got turned on its head and this podcast has really been here for us and given us a light at the end of the tunnel every single week.
And we're talking like school is over, but it's fucking not.
Nope, not yet. Mentally,
No,
just
ma'am.
kidding. Still there mentally too.
We are still there and life is chaos right now. We did adopt that dog. Her name is now Georgia instead of Goldine. I had a hard time switching, but we've made the switch. Alec did not like Goldine because it reminded him of a fish, which is fair.
The Pokemon?
The Pokemon.
The Pokemon is a fish.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought it was a hamster.
We
type
showed
thing.
you a
And we
video
showed you
of
the
it.
video.
I know that. I know.
I'm like, I tried to embrace you into the reference,
Yeah.
Hayley.
And it looked like a hamster to me.
It's like a giant goldfish.
I feel like nothing actually in Pokemon is actually like this or that. Like they're all Pokemon. They're like these weird little creatures.
No, like some of them are clearly the animal.
I beg to differ.
Oh, okay. So we have an issue. We just need to start our Saturday morning Pokemon tradition.
Yeah, I guess we do.
That's
Okay.
a hamster? You
Yeah.
fucking kidding me?
Look at it. That's a hamster. That's a fucking, what are those fish even called? It's a narwhal.
Okay, my mind wasn't right. Clearly.
It like cuts and you're like, hey guys, this is Hayley. We got in a big fight.
Yeah.
and-
You have to do like an apology video where you're not wearing makeup and you're wearing a gray sweatshirt with a hood up crying.
Yes, yeah. I just post a screenshot of my notes app onto my Instagram story.
Yeah.
I didn't know it would hurt so many people with my hamster comment.
Well, you've hurt me and one is enough.
You've hurt me by keeping me in the dark about Pokemon for our entire friendship.
Who was keeping you in the dark? Last year, when we used to go on walks every day and I would play Pokemon Go, and every day I'd say, Hayley, you should download Pokemon Go so we can play together.
I did.
And you never did.
I did, though.
You may have downloaded it, but you never played.
And just as I downloaded it, who got a boyfriend? Who?
My bad.
Well, that's why we have the podcast here today. So
Yeah.
okay,
And
whatever.
and you got a boyfriend right after, so you weren't lonely for long.
Who did it first, though?
Sorry.
What came first, the hamster or the fish?
But I brought you a friend.
That
by getting
is
a boyfriend.
true.
Now you
That
have
is
two friends
true.
instead of one.
I know. I remember the first time being like talking to Alec and like referencing him about some other conversation I was having, and I was like, "You're my friend."
Yeah, it's weird.
I was like, "Are you my friend's boyfriend, or are you like that all and also my friend?" Like, when did that happen?
I know. It really snuck up on us.
It sure did. How weird.
Yeah, for new listeners, Hayley and I not only live together, produce a podcast together, but she's also a friend.
Yeah, and like I feel like you guys became friends pretty quick. Like we were only dating like a week before the three of us like sat on my bed and talked for like 5 hours and ate dinner together.
That's the first time I met
Really?
Alec. Yeah, that was my introduction. And we were like wine drunk and
Yeah.
like crying about
Oh my God, we were talking about like our Enneagrams on my bed, crying and having like a therapy session. And then we planned a Valentine's Day party together and made the Facebook invite.
Yeah.
We were like sitting on my floor planning a party, the three of us, wine drunk and crying about our personality types.
And oddly relevant, we called it Palentine's Day and it
Uh-huh.
kept autocorrecting to
Palestine's Day.
But anyway, yes, Alec and I quickly became friends, just as you and him quickly became clearly soulmates.
Yes.
So congrats on that.
Thank you. It's been quite the journey.
Oh my God.
A lot happened in those 3 days.
Tommy texted me last week and he was like, hey, how long were Kat and Alec dating before Alec said that he loved her? And I was like, I think it was like a couple weeks.
It was literally 2 weeks, and one of those weeks was spent where I was like gone back home visiting my family.
I was like, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks, and I was like, why? Like, why are you asking me that? He was like, I just needed a good laugh.
Yeah, it was so fast.
Yeah.
We met right before Christmas. She went home for Christmas and she flew back. And the night she flew back, I was like, I love you.
Yeah. Yeah, it all happened. It really all
Words to
happened
the
very
wise.
fast.
That is a very rare occasion that within 2 weeks saying I love you works out as swimmingly as it did.
This is not advice. This is the exception.
Well, yeah, she came home from this break and we had just met and she gave me all these cool gifts from Seattle. And I was like, just overcome. Gifts aren't even my love language, but it worked.
Crazy.
It did work. It was shocking, but
Gifts.
I said it back.
Wink, wink.
I mean that too.
We mean rides home from the airport.
Yes.
Oh, that would be acts of
Yeah.
service.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's true.
Acts of service.
Yeah. Yeah.
So many acts.
So many acts,
services.
so many gifts, services. Man, well, this is fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, Kat is my friend. Alec is my friend. We do a podcast together. This is Night Classy.
It is. Yeah. I don't have anything else to fucking say. I think we just exposed my whole life and things are going great.
Yeah. Well, I blew a .08 after drinking one off-brand White Claw.
Yeah, she hasn't eaten in a while because that Adderall is doing its job.
I had 2 chicken tenders for lunch.
Oh my God, Hayley, and I bet you didn't eat breakfast.
I tried to eat breakfast. I was like, okay, it's payday, it's Friday. I'm going to go through Starbucks. I got a coffee and I got a sandwich, but then the sandwich was half like heated up. So
Ew.
I ate half of the Starbucks
You ate the
sandwich.
hot side.
Yes, I did. Yeah. And the hot side was just like the whole
Outer
perimeter.
layer.
Yeah. So I was like Squidward when he tries a Krabby Patty for the first time, just like nibbling on it.
That's amazing.
Can I compliment you guys real quick on just discussing your ADHD diagnosis? Because when I was editing, I was like, this is just so good because I have ADHD. And as an adult, it sometimes feels like everyone learned something in school that you didn't. Like, I'm always like, I must have missed a day in school where people taught you how to like be a functioning adult. And it was just nice hearing you guys talk about it because it can be tough. And I think it's good to get out in the open about it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really glad that we've talked about it. I hope that it can help other people too. And not even just with ADHD. I don't think it should stop there because there's so many things that seeing a psychiatrist can help with or just taking care of your mental health more,
Totally.
just paying attention.
And we both have other mental health issues that we have not talked about. So we always
Anxiety.
could.
But wait,
Anxiety,
there's more.
depression, eating disorders.
Oh, yes. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
My Snapchat memories came up today and there was a picture of me from 4 years ago. And it was me like with my arm up like this. Like I was like, okay, this is the time I'm going to get fit. And I just can't believe that I thought that I was fat then and needed to get in shape. And like my elbow was like, it could have cut someone. Like it was so sharp and like I was so thin.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe that was going to be my like before picture.
The body dysmorphia that I went through in high school and early college and went
still
through
do.
and still do. Like it's incredible. And I've made a lot of growth in the last like couple years, but like it's just wild like looking back on high school and like thinking about I had that fucking app MyFitnessPal and I was trying to eat 500 calories a day.
Wow,
and,
yeah.
It was just unreal and you don't talk about it. So no, I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people can relate.
A lot of people do relate and know that. And like the past year or so, I've been trying to follow these Instagram accounts that actually like I can actually relate to.
Yeah.
And they're just people in the comments being like, oh my gosh, I did the same thing. I thought I was alone.
Yeah.
And you're not alone.
No, unfollowing those thinspo, fitspo pages is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try and follow more people who A, look like you, and B, who don't look like you. Get that diversity and get, see yourself represented in the media that you're feeding yourself.
Definitely. So important. I'm sure we'll talk about this more at a later date. Someone suggested that we do an episode on body positivity, and I really agree with that. It's definitely like on the list. I just really want to do a good job on it, and maybe we could even collaborate on it because we both have a lot to say about it. But I want to do it justice, and I haven't dedicated the time to it yet.
That could be a whole series.
Definitely.
Really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, I drank one White Claw and that made me blow a 0.010 because I ate dinner.
We're different.
Yeah. I ate a Burger King Impossible Whopper cheeseburger with fries and a Coke, and it was amazing.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. I will be eating as soon as I get home because now I'm ready.
I have mozzarella sticks if you want to indulge.
Yes. Yeah. I always want to indulge. All right. Well, anyway, that means that I am going first. So I'm going to start off today's lesson with a question because it's fun and I know that you like it when I do that.
Yes.
Okay. What do you see in your mind when you picture a hipster?
I picture like a 2010 hipster because I feel like that's when that word was used, like a flannel, like the hipster glasses, a beard, a beanie. I picture Portland, IPAs,
IPAs, definitely.
coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. I also pictured the plaid shirt, that's also like the expensive plaid shirt.
Yeah, like the Patagonia plaid.
Yeah, because they're like eco-friendly also.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're willing to spend that money. But yeah. Mm-hmm. This lesson is on hipsters.
Sweet.
Because this lesson has taught me so much. It's so interesting when you go to start a lesson and you think you know what you'll learn, but you end up learning something completely different. So
yeah,
hopefully this is that for you all too. We're going to start with the word just hip. The origin of hip has been speculated and hypothesized for a really long time, but we don't really know where it came from. We do know that it first appeared at the beginning of the 20th century, and it means pretty much the same thing it does now. It's something that's cool or trendy, but it has a sister brother word that's hep, H-E-P. And hep was actually used in the mainstream before hip was, especially when describing music with the rise of jazz in the 20s and 30s, specifically swing jazz. So swing jazz was hep, and mainstream swing jazz got boring after a while. So Black musicians, as we know, America's past, there was segregation. So Black musicians already existed outside of the white norm mainstream. And after a while, people were just tired of creating the typical swing jazz, and Black musicians started to collaborate to make what we now know as hot jazz and bebop. So places like Harlem become the center of this music scene where Black jazz musicians are creating this new type of music and experimenting after hours. And these bebop and jazz musicians and their fans were called hepcats.
That's cute.
I like it that. Is really cute. Hepcats were these people who knew about jazz music and they understood jive. That's kind of like the language in this scene. And in 1939, the jazz singer Cab Calloway published Cab Calloway's Hipsters Dictionary, the language of jive, in which he defined a hepcat as a guy who knows all the answers. He understands jive. So it's like a cool guy.
Yeah.
Cool cat. You're a hepcat. So this music scene is flourishing in Black neighborhoods. And then, of course, white people are like, what are they doing over there? I want to go explore and like see what's up.
Explore and exploit.
Exactly.
The 2 E's.
I want to experience this seemingly exotic world and take what I want to from it, but not actually support it and exist in it.
Right. I just want to steal from it and put it in my own package.
I'm going to do what I do. And I'm going to steal. So white people start coming.
Do what I do and I'm going to steal.
Not to define it explicitly or anything, but that's what I'm going to do. So white people start coming to black neighborhoods to experience this music scene. And hepcat is used so much in the mainstream and so much with the rise of bebop that the musicians are like, okay, we're changing it. This is the end of hepcat. Instead of hepcat, it's going to be hipster now.
Oh,
we're going to call the
interesting.
people who actually know about jazz hipsters. All right. And there's a pianist, Harry Gibson. He also wrote a short glossary in 1944, which is called For Characters Who Don't Dig Jive Talk, in which he defines hipsters as characters who like hot jazz. And he also, in 1947, put out a song that explicitly describes the difference and the switch between hep and hip, that change there. And I actually sent Alec you the link to this song. I want to listen to it. We don't have to listen to the whole thing, but I think that it would be fun to experience this real quick. And this song is called It Ain't Hep. There's a long intro. Sorry.
Hey, you know, there's a lot of talk going around about this hip and hep jive. Lots of people are going around saying hip. A lot of squares are coming on with hip. Well, the hipster is here to inform you what the jive is all about. The jive is hip, don't say hip, that's slip of the lip. Let me give you a tip, don't you ever say hip, it ain't hip. No, it ain't! It ain't hip to be loud and wrong, just because you're feeling strong. You try too hard to make a hit, and every time you tip your mitt. It ain't hip to blow your top. The only thing you say is mop, mop, mop. Keep cool, fool, like a fish in a pool. That's the gold rule of the hipster school. When you find yourself talking much, then you know you're off the track. Look out now, that's the stuff you got to watch. Everybody wants to get me acting ain't hip to think you're in bad. Just cause it suits you why. You can laugh and shout, but you better watch out. You really don't know what it's all about, man.
I can't understand anything he's saying, but I like it.
It took me a couple listens to, and I looked up the lyrics. I'll read a couple of them to you.
Okay.
So it's the jive is hip, don't say hep. That's the slip of the lip. Let me give you a tip. Don't you ever say hep. It ain't hip. No, it ain't. It ain't hip to be loud and wrong just because you're feeling strong.
Nice.
And he goes on. So it ain't hep anymore. It is hip. We are hipsters. That's what it is. Until, of course, the 1940s hipster culture turns into just more white people trying to exploit the black jazz music scene. Hipsters eventually turn into mostly lower class white people who are interested in the jazz scene and go to black neighborhoods to enjoy the music and get inspiration on fashion, music, dance, language, and drug use. Language was a big part that set them apart from the quote unquote mainstream. Hipsters had their own language, which was, jive talk or hipster talk. But again, it did not start with these white people. This talk is described by Eric Hobbs. I'm sorry. I don't know why this is so hard for me to say. Okay, this language is described by Eric Hobsbawm. Author.
What?
Hobsbawm.
Hobsbawm. Awesome.
Yeah, that was it. That sounds like a Pokemon. Hobsbawm.
It does. You're so right.
Hobsbawm,
See,
hobsbawm,
you understand Pokemon.
It would be like a frog.
Yeah.
Hobsbawm.
Hobsbawm.
Yeah, I get it. Now I just need to be in it. I need to be in the Pokemon world.
We're
the
waiting
universe.
for you.
I feel
with
like
open arms.
The problem though, you can't join the Pokemon world as an adult. You had to have grown up with it. Sorry. You're forever excluded.
I guess I was just too cool.
But what you no. What you can do is have children and they can be into Pokemon. And then I'll just hang out with your child.
I've been on a whole thing the past 4 weeks or so where I'm not even sure if I want to have kids anymore.
That's fair.
I used to want to have a ton of kids, but
I
now,
remember when we met and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to have kids. And you're like, well, I want to have 10.
yeah, at least. No. I cannot say that with confidence. I do not feel that way.
Yeah, it is nice doing exactly what you want whenever you want.
Right. I think about the freedom. I think about the financial
Yeah.
situation that would happen if I had kids.
Totally. I'm with you.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? For right now, my students are my kids, and that
Yes.
is perfection.
It is. If I do have kids someday, I can't be a teacher and have kids. And I know I say that now, it could change, but like I just being around kids all day, I'm like, okay, now I don't need to be around kids anymore.
Yes,
And,
it's a good break.
Yes.
So as described by Eric Hobsbawm, author of the jazz scene, as and I also don't know how to pronounce this word. Argot, ARGOT, argot.
I have no idea.
Here we go.
Argo.
Argot. Okay. So it's described as an argot or cant designed to set the group apart from outsiders. So terms such as gravy meant profits and kick meant your pocket. And this is the start of the hipsters that we actually see today, was this 1940s subculture of hipsters. And basically we see the need for them to just steer clear from anything and everything mainstream. So as far as the music scene goes, bebop jazz gets more popular. It makes a move to Manhattan and becomes very popular on 52nd Street. And we see a lot of white hipsters trying to emulate the culture of Black people. There were Black people and white people mixing during these jazz events, but the integration did more harm than good for these Black people. Like we said before, white people were just stealing their culture.
Right. Instead of white people inviting Black people into white spaces, it's white people invading Black spaces.
Yeah.
So, it has the
spaces
opposite.
that they're like, here, you can have your own separate space, but
Yeah.
we also get to be here.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So they're stealing their culture. They're giving them nothing back in return. But bebop was done in such a way that it couldn't be copied by just anyone. It was, and I can't even explain, how bebop jazz is created. But hipsters still, tried to whitewash the culture and the music. And one of the videos that I watched described it as a way for white liberals at the time to absolve themselves from white guilt, as they would go and support the music, but none of them would really advocate or speak out for systemic change. So many people took critical looks at what it meant to be a hipster in the 1940s and called them out. I'm going to pull a quote from Norman Mailer, a journalist, who in his 1950 essay called The White Negro Superficial Reflections on the Hipster, he describes hipsters as a philosophical psychopath, a man interested not only in the dangerous imperatives of his psychopathy, but in codifying, at least for himself, the suppositions on which his inner universe is constructed. And also says the hipster has absorbed the existential synapses of the Negro and for practical purposes could be considered a white Negro. So it's they're just taking everything from Black music and culture that they can while still benefiting from being in the dominant class.
Totally. And it's tough to unpack because I definitely appreciate and listen to a lot of Black artists, and I think it's a fine line to walk versus are you appreciating and also advocating, or are you appreciating and stealing? And I think you just have to be very careful.
Yeah, and we'll get more into modern hipsters and in the way that some of their actions can be harmful. But by the end of the 50s, the term hipster pretty much dropped out of the mainstream until it came back in the 90s. This time it was referring to the emerging indie youth culture. The hipsters of the 40s at least had this jazz music that clearly defined who they were. But in the 90s and 2000s, there's not a clear definition of what a hipster actually was. You know, we think of the plaid shirt.
Yeah,
and the
like I feel like
beard.
in 2012, like it was like the basic white girl of like basic white men to be like a hipster, like coffee shop culture and a flannel. Like it became like this thing, and it sounds like it obviously already was a thing, but then it morphed into like this Tumblr culture like type like package.
Yeah, and all of those people on Tumblr and, you know, on their blogs and stuff would be offended if you called them a hipster.
Yeah.
Because all these hipsters would never call themselves hipsters. Because their whole thing is that they're different and authentic. Yeah, they're unique. They heard of that band before you'd ever thought about hearing of that band.
It's such a weird thing, like the whole, and I was definitely guilty of this. Like when I was younger, like not wanting to like things that everyone else liked. Like I have still like never like listened to One Direction because when they were popular when I was a kid, I was like, I'm not fucking listening to that. Like I'm not stupid. But like now I'm obsessed with pop music, and I like because you just grow up and you realize that that's like a stupid mentality. But at the time,
If it's good, it's good.
if it's good, it's good. And like if everyone likes it, it's probably good.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make you cool to dislike things.
Yeah, it's okay to like things.
Yeah.
The only reason I ever listened to One Direction and ended up really liking them was because my mom couldn't drive me to lacrosse anymore. She had gotten a job. My dad was doing what dads do. And so my lacrosse friends had to drive me, and there were like 4 or 5 of us lacrosse girls in the car. You know, someone's mom was always driving us, and One Direction was the thing. And all it took was like one girl to love One Direction for the rest of us to be like,
Oh yeah. Once you start, you can't stop. But like I never started.
well, maybe we should throw it back.
Maybe we should.
I can introduce you to One Direction. You can introduce me to Pokemon.
Wow.
Look at us.
Look at
We're
us
just like
crossing
bridging.
interests. We should do a night classy episode on Pokemon and One Direction.
Oh my gosh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Alec, write it down.
I wrote it down.
Thank you. He's like, actually, I wrote it down before you
Yeah.
even said it. So
I did.
you are a hipster, actually.
Yeah, when you
He
guys were
is.
describing the hipster, I was just like, they could be.
Yeah.
It's like looking in a mirror.
Yeah, you were in college during like 2010,
Prime hipster
right?
time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're probably a prime hipster.
Yeah. I went to college in Florida, which was less flannelly, but
Yeah.
still a lot of flannels now that I think about it.
There are other ways to be a hipster, you know, wearing
Yeah.
that old band t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't do that.
Literally his entire closet is band t-shirts.
Yeah, you're a hipster. We've all committed hipster crimes.
Oh, absolutely. I still do.
And
I'm wearing fucking chunky iridescent purple sneakers right now because I saw it was cool on TikTok and I'm trying to be a hipster even though I'm old.
And isn't that interesting, is that what becomes popular is what hipsters do to be hipsters, to be different? That's called the hipster effect, and we'll get to it. So the 21st century hipster is often disenchanted with the new millennium and want to take a different approach than that of their parents and previous generations. And a common thread amongst modern hipsters, at least in like the early 2000s, was having parents who were really into Ronald Reagan.
What? But
Yeah.
weren't everyone's parents into Ronald Reagan?
And everyone's a hipster.
True.
You're a hipster. You're a hipster. You're a hipster. We're all hipsters.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Ronald Reagan, that's a common thread. But I mean, how can you not want to stray from
Oh my God.
Ronald Reagan?
Yeah.
Moving on from Ronald Reagan, let's talk about green hipsters, another subgenre of the hipster movement. I'm sure, as you could guess, they're especially into the environment and celebrating the arts, but I feel like that's just hipsters in general, but apparently it's a whole subgenre, and companies started to cater to the values of these hipsters, selling hip products like organic coffee and fair trade products. Even ad campaigns changed. Companies wanted to make people feel like buying their clothing was an act of rebellion, like they were going against the grain, like they were like really sticking it to the man.
Capitalism is so fucking weird.
I know. It's a nightmare.
Like they really just prey on you.
They do.
Go to thrift stores. But also
And even
like
those.
but also that is also problematic.
Yeah.
Because if you have money to buy new clothes and then you're buying the good clothes from the people who can't afford new clothes, it's all a fucking mess.
It just everything.
Everything is a mess.
I wake up every day and I SMH.
Yeah.
So yeah, hipsters want to rebel against the mainstream. They claim authenticity and uniqueness, but lack it severely at the same time. You might be a hipster if you like indie and alternative music, if you ride a fixed gear bicycle, if you have a full beard and wear plaid shirts. Robert Latham published the Hipster Handbook in 2003 and described hipsters as young people with, quote, mop top haircuts, swinging retro pocketbooks, talking on cell phones, which now, I mean, I guess people still don't talk on cell phones. You text.
Okay, but what's a swinging retro pocketbook?
Yeah, so it's just like a handbag. It's one of these guys.
Oh, okay.
Oh, a purse?
Yeah, like a vintage purse.
Okay.
You
What a
hipsters
weird
with your purses and your cell phones.
What a strange qualifier.
But now, this also applies to current day, is strutting in platform shoes.
Yep. Check.
Check. He continues on to, you graduated from a liberal arts school whose football team hasn't won a game since the Reagan administration, and, quote, you have one Republican friend who you always describe as being your one Republican friend.
Okay, I relate to none of that.
Hipsterism has changed since 2003. I just thought that was funny. I really like the part where they're like the one Republican friend.
Don't have any of those.
I'm trying to think.
My college had a shirt that said Eckerd College football undefeated, and it's because we've never had a football team.
That's clever.
Yeah, I like you're checking the boxes. Do you have a Republican friend?
I do.
Yep.
I'm sure I do, being from
Yeah.
Ohio. I
Yeah,
must
you guys
somewhere.
are from Ohio and Tennessee. I feel like that's hard to avoid.
But actually, my Republican friend, I converted.
Okay.
TFA converted him.
Wow.
Does that to
Yeah,
ya?
TFA will do that. Yeah.
If you're even accepted into the program as a Republican, there are very few.
Yeah, I can't even think of anyone in our
Not in
class
our
who-
core.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Absolutely fucking not. They would have got their ass beat by all of us together.
Yeah, who's the snowflake now?
Yeah.
That's what it would have been. In 2017, the British logistics and marketing firm MoveHub published a hipster index for the United States, and the study drew from 5 data points: microbreweries, thrift stores, vegan restaurants, and tattoo parlors, all compounded with a city's rent inflation for the previous year to find the most hipster cities. So for the US, it was Vancouver, Washington.
Really?
That was number 1.
What? Vancouver, Washington?
Yeah,
That's like a small hick town in southern Washington.
I guess their ratio was just right.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
A small little town. I guess it's close to Portland.
I guess so.
Maybe that does something.
Portland's going to be on a later list.
Yeah.
Second place was Salt Lake City. Third was Cincinnati.
Wow.
Yeah.
These are all surprising to me. I've been to Salt Lake City and it literally feels like a white suburb, which I guess hipster culture is very white. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't picture like a lot of tattoos and craft brewery places in Salt Lake City, but I guess
You're just not
Makes sense.
looking in the right places.
Guess not.
You're just not hipster enough.
not.
There's Boise, Idaho, and Richmond, Virginia. Seattle was number 20. I did look
Okay.
that up.
That makes sense.
They also, in 2017, MoveHub came out with a similar study for the most hipster cities in the world. Their metrics were a little bit different. They measured vegan eateries, coffee shops, tattoo studios, vintage boutiques, and record stores. So number 1 on the list was Brighton and Hove in the UK. Number 2 was Portland. 3 was Salt Lake City. And then 4th was Seattle. 5th being Lisbon. Yeah. Hey.
This has sold me on Salt Lake. I never thought twice about there, but like the fact that it's on both of those lists.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's a repeat offender.
It's a
vegan.
It's a nice city. I mean, it has a lot of crunchy white people, but it's still very conservative, and it's still Utah, so like you can't get alcohol fucking anywhere.
Yeah.
It's conservative?
Oh, it's so conservative.
Wow, I would not have thought that. And I
mean,
know
it's
almost
a
nothing.
city, so it's like it leans liberal, but like it's in Utah.
Yeah, can't take the Utah out of Utah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are cities to go to if you're feeling a little hip. There's a subgenre again of hipsters called nipsters.
Ooh, I don't like the sound of that.
You're right. These are right-wing neo-Nazi hipsters in Germany.
Oh.
Yeah. They came about in 2014. They reject traditional right-wing images, and they're more aligned with white power skinheads, but also pop culture. They embrace and fight for animal rights, environmentalism, while also supporting anti-immigration views and a bunch of other far-right values.
They're like, we fucking suck, but we like puppies.
Yeah, puppies can stay.
Yeah.
But refugees,
Nah. Yeah.
They don't want to just reject pop culture. They want to use it to promote their own ideals. So a video of a nipster on YouTube dancing to the Harlem Shake while holding an anti-immigration sign went viral in 2013, 2014.
What?
They've dressed up as Cookie Monster for a promotional stunt to appeal to children.
Oh my God.
And there's even a vegan nipster cooking show.
People are so weird.
So weird.
Like,
So weird.
what is happening? That sounds like an alternate reality. I don't even know.
It does. Like you wake up and you're just in some weird...
I'm in an alt-right neo-Nazi vegan cooking show. What the fuck?
It's like that
What kind
meme
of nightmare?
The nipster meme where it's like 2 handshaking and it's like liberal views but also neo-Nazism and being conservative. What? Who? How?
It's just all, they just like took all the like worst facets of activism. And I mean, not that like animal rights or like environmentalism is bad, but like I feel like they're just like, let's just piss people off in every way.
Yeah, they're doing all that they can to
like
be
we're
the
gonna
worst that
yell
they
at
can.
you about not being vegan and be racist.
Yes.
It's the best.
Exactly. Okay, I'm going to end on a funny story about a hipster. So in the process of hipsters all trying to be unique, they all end up looking the same. That is the hipster effect. When people decide to be different and rebel against the mainstream, they all end up looking and acting in the same ways. So researchers at Brandeis University or Brandeis, thank you.
I think, right?
I don't
Probably.
know.
I think it's
Probably.
Brandeis.
Yeah, we can call this episode the one where Hayley doesn't know how to pronounce anything.
That could be all our episodes where none of us know how to pronounce anything.
Yeah, we're just doing our best, okay?
We're trying.
Ready?
Yeah.
Brandeis University.
Oh, Brandeis.
Brandeis.
You got it.
All right.
I'll just shut my whore mouth.
I thought you were right. So researchers at Brandeis University conducted a study about the hipster effect, and they took a closer look at how it works. The way I understand it, and they used computer simulations to do it, but they had like half of the population do things that were in the mainstream and half of the population in this computer simulation do things that were out of the mainstream. And basically, it was like a cycle. Everyone who went mainstream did that, and those who went like the hipster route did that. But then so many people were doing the hipster thing that everyone else started doing that. So it was like a recycle trend thing.
It's like how trends are recycled. Like you see your parents doing something, so you like do a different trend, and then like that becomes out of style. So then your parents are doing it. It's like an endless. It's the tale of time.
I remember being in 4th grade and being like, "You wore leggings as pants? Oh my god!"
Totally.
Yeah, it freaked me out. But now that was the go-to. I don't like outside of the house. I'm not really wearing leggings that much anymore.
Oh, I am.
I guess I don't know. I got these Gap jeans and I'm like,
the Gap jeans are good.
Feeling myself.
Yes. But I mean, I'm saying this now that you can pry leggings from my cold dead hands, but I also said that about skinny jeans, and here we are. I wore baggy jeans to work today, and it was amazing.
And now I understand why my mom had so many clothes. She had a huge closet. Yeah. And I think what she was doing was just waiting until everything came back around.
Oh, I fully plan on doing that. Mm-hmm. It's like hard to hold on to stuff because it becomes so ugly in your eyes. But like I'm going to keep all my like expensive trendy pieces.
Yes.
For me. And if I have a daughter someday, like I wish my mom kept her cool vintage clothes. That would have been a dream come true. And she didn't, because no one does. Like, you don't think this ugly thing that's out of style is going to come back, but it does.
My mom did. I got a few of her pieces. So, yeah.
You're lucky.
You just have to put it in a bin in wherever you store your shit.
Yeah, just
and
not
make sure you can't see it. Yeah, it has to be opaque. Okay. Well, anyway, back to this funny thing. So most hipsters won't refer to themselves as hipsters. They would argue a million different reasons why they are not hipsters. And that's how one man ended up writing an angry article to the MIT Technology Review after they published an article about this study, about how all hipsters look the same with like the research and all the data. But in this study, the top of the article had an edited picture of a hipster at the top of the page. Alec, you can pull it up. It's just a man wearing a plaid shirt with a beanie. Like it's a hipster.
Oh, yep. It's a man in a flannel and a beanie.
Yep.
What was the setup of that again?
So this guy emails the people who published it, MIT Technology Review. They published this article about how all hipsters look the same, and that's the thumbnail, is this hipster. He's wearing a flannel shirt and a beanie. And this angry email reads, "You used a heavily edited Getty image of me for your recent bit of clickbait about why hipsters all look the same. It's a poorly written and insulting article, and somewhat ironically about 5 years too late to be as desperately relevant as it is attempting to be, by using a tired cultural trope to try to spruce up an otherwise disturbing study. Your lack of basic journalistic ethics and both the manner in which you reported this uncredited nonsense and the slanderous, unnecessary use of my picture without permission demands a response. And I am, of course, pursuing legal action."
That's hilarious, and also reminded me of something. Can I tell a story? My Uncle Fong, who is gay, he's my biological Uncle Jeff's partner. They were on a cruise, and someone was just like asked to take a picture of them for like a magazine, and they were like, okay. I think it was actually maybe just my Uncle Fong. I don't know. Maybe they were in the picture together, but then they like somehow found it online later, and it was used in a Seventh-day Adventist brochure, which is obviously like a very conservative branch of Christianity, and just they use this picture of two gay men in their brochure.
For what?
For a Seventh-day Adventist brochure.
But like, what was the brochure on?
Like advertising a church.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It was the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Not exactly the same thing, because that was actually them. This guy.
That wasn't even the guy. Oh my God.
That was not the guy.
That's so funny.
Oh, that's so good.
The author of the article, Gideon Litchfield, and his team checked to make sure the model had signed a release, got in contact with Getty Images. They reassured them the model was not the guy who sent the angry email. And this angry hipster stood sorely corrected, and the point was proven even further.
That's so fucking embarrassing.
He couldn't even tell himself apart from another hipster.
Oh my God.
Well, I thought I would end on a funny note. I'm glad that I made you laugh. My sources today are NPR. Don't you dare call me hipster. I, sir, am a hepcat. Man inadvertently proves that hipsters look alike by mistaking photo as himself. YouTube, the video, the 1940s hipster race relations in the context of hip. Wikipedia pages for modern hipsters, 1940 hipsters, nipsters, and race and sexist hipsters, and a NY Post called 10 Alarming Hilarious Facts About Nazi Hipsters. That's my lesson. I hope you all enjoyed it and learned something new today.
Thank you so much for that, Hayley. Let's hear a word from our sponsor, and we will be right back. We were just talking about hipsters, and I feel like one of the hipster things of today is CBD.
Absolutely. There's so many reasons why CBD is the popular thing to do right now. For me, it's about not how it necessarily makes me feel as a result of taking it. It's more of what it doesn't make me feel. When I do a couple drops of the CBD Rise oil in the morning and hold it underneath my tongue with 7th Hill CBD, it relinquishes the anxiety I might feel about the day. Or if I have like a kink in my neck, it definitely helps smooth all the negative ripples away, if you will. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally makes sense. I feel like it just makes you feel how you should feel. And to me, like, it just like it takes me back to my baseline. Like, I do mine at the end of the day. I put it in my tea, and I use the Unwind oil, and it has lavender terpenes. And these terpenes and the smell of like the organic CBD oil, like it smells like the plant, tastes like the plant, and lavender, and just is organic and beautiful. And it just like centers my mind and puts me in a place of relaxation. And also, yeah, takes away those aches and pains, takes away some of that anxiety, makes me relaxed and ready to go to sleep and take on a new day.
Yeah, and it's no wonder that the product is so good in the way that it tastes, in the way that it makes us feel. It's all organic, it's farm to table.
Yeah.
It's all grown by, it's all in-house. 7th Hill CBD does everything for everything that they put out. I even trust it to gift it to my mom for Mother's Day and her birthday. Okay, doubling down.
It's an incredible gift. Like, 7th Hill CBD just packages everything beautifully. It's all handmade with love and care, straight from an actual hemp farm. It's truly just the most beautiful, amazing product in every way. And if you want to try it, please do. You will not be sorry. You can go to 7thhillcbd.com and use our promo code NIGHTCLASSY. That is the name of this podcast, no spaces, for 20% off your order.
You're not going to find this anywhere else, so we trust it. We think you will trust it and love it too. Check out 7th Hill CBD. Yeah, I think that was a goodbye cadence.
Yes.
CBD.
CBD. What are we doing? Are we rolling?
We are.
I'm doing
great.
TikToks. I don't know what you're doing.
You're doing TikTok?
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to Miss Barnhart's room. Hayley knows that I love to bitch about all the people who bully me on TikTok. Check out our Night Classy TikTok and scroll through the comments if you also hate me like many of our viewers do. But there was a comment left on one of our TikToks that said, "Interesting, but the cursing makes you sound low class and uneducated." And I think that comment itself is pretty uneducated and problematic, but it got me thinking about swear words and how much I love them.
I fucking love motherfucking fucking goddamn swear words.
Me too. So this is a lesson on swear words.
Wow, I love this already.
It's so good. And this is also in honor of my grandfather, George Foster, who passed away recently, and I inherited my love of dirty words from him. He loved few things more than he loved bad words.
It's so easy to love bad words, and you get to use them every day.
I
You get to
know.
express yourself through them. You get to honor your papa, dare
My
I say?
papa,
Through
yes.
them.
My granddaddy. Also, I'm panting right now because
Yeah, you are.
Alec asked us like 3 times if we wanted to take a break, and I kept saying no. And then right before I was going to start my lesson, I was like, actually, I have to get to the bathroom. And then I felt bad. And so I ran to the bathroom, peed as fast as I could, and ran back. So I'm
You're like,
a little
this is the
out of
first
breath.
time I ran since I played soccer in high school.
Literally, I think that's a fact. I do not exercise, despite the fact that I'm wearing like a full exercise suit right now.
It's a fit.
It worked well for when I had to run to the bathroom and back. I
you
felt
went
very springy.
so fast.
All right, so I'm going to start my lesson now. A swear word is an offensive word. It's usually an expression of anger. Other terms for swear words include profanity, curse words, cuss words, bad words, dirty words, and expletives. And I found a list on Wikipedia that listed just a million swear words in alphabetical order. So I'm just going to list some of the more popular ones from this list. So we have ass, asshole, bastard, bitch, bullshit, cocksucker, crap, cunt, damn, fuck, goddamn, hell, holy shit, horse shit, motherfucker, shit, and twat. That's not all the swear words, but those are some of my favorites.
Shout out to Twat for making the list.
I know. I love
Yeah.
the word twat. I wish we used it more.
Yeah, if we were in the UK, maybe.
Yeah.
I told you about this book I was reading. Her mom had been calling people twats in town for like a year before she realized she meant twit. But she's like, that twat put that sign up in his yard.
That's funny. I read, when I was doing this research, I read an article by a woman who wrote a book on swear words, and she was saying that like her first memory of using a swear word was when she meant to call her little brother a twit, but she called him a twat, and her mom like slapped her across the face, which is not funny, but like a little funny.
But a little bit.
Yeah.
That reminds me of 2 stories. Quick anecdotes. Okay, number 1, my parents did not care about cussing. They always talked to us as adults. No baby talk. They use their full vocabulary at all times.
Mine too.
Which turned out to be great. Like I feel like I'm pretty well developed. Anyway. They always like cussed and everything in the house. Didn't really matter. But I remember one Thanksgiving, I was in 4th grade and friends were coming over. Family was going to be there. And I remember asking my mom in a very serious conversation, like, can we not cuss on this day of gratefulness, on this day of thanks? And she was like, fuck no.
Good. She's probably
I know.
like, what little bitch did I raise?
I don't know why I was being so soft. I don't know who I was. Like, I don't identify with that person anymore.
That's like when I was a kid and I wanted my family to go to church so bad so we could fit in with like the other families.
I did too. And my mom was like, we'll take you to church if you want to go, but we're not going.
Yeah. It's like looking back, I'm like, thank God. But also like,
Thank God. Hypothetical God.
right. Thanks, Sky Daddy, my parents. And not that like, I mean, I don't care if you want to have a religion, but I'm glad that I don't.
Yeah, I explored it and it's not for me.
Yeah, same. But yeah, it's weird how like when you're a kid, I mean, you just want your family to be like everyone else, and my family was not like everyone else.
Yeah. Same here.
Which I'm grateful for now.
Oh, wait, I have the second anecdote.
Okay.
But so the Alec is editing and he's like, she never followed up. One day in 5th grade, so the year after the whole cussing thing, this kid in class called another kid a perv. And I thought it was so funny. I had no idea what it meant. But later that day, my brother did something to me and I was like, oh, you perv. And my mom was like, do you know what that means? I'm like, of course not. I'm in 5th grade.
That's so funny and reminds me of a time. This is just a lot of brain chains. But I thought that calling someone a pussy meant that they were like a scaredy cat. And so I was probably like 8 or 9, and we were in a restaurant, and it was pretty quiet. And you know how in restaurants, like it was like a pizza place, there's like a little like play area sometimes, like with some toys. And my brother and I were there, and I like screamed at him that he's a not fucking. I didn't say fucking. I told him he was a pussy. Like I meant a scaredy cat. I did not know what it meant. And my mom was mortified. She grabbed me and like drags me into the bathroom and screams at me. Great parenting strategy.
I love how you're like, she screams at me. Does she not use this on any of her other children?
Oh no, I got most of it. I'm the eldest daughter. It's what happens.
You're the practice child.
Exactly. I really took one for the team there, but she's a great mom. I don't want anyone getting the wrong idea. But yeah, I fucking deserved it. I yelled at my brother that he was a pussy in a crowded restaurant. As a child, and I didn't know what it meant, and then she told me what it meant, and I was like, oh, you're right.
Oh my god, if there's room for one more anecdote, that reminds me of a different story, and I think I just have to go for it now.
Do it.
Okay, so my brother and my dad were at Boy Scout camp, and it was the like couple days where they were camping out in a fucking field or whatever, and my brother and my dad were in the camp, and it was really cold that night, and my brother was in his little sleeping bag, and my dad was in his, and my dad's like, my hands were really cold. So, and my brother always slept with just his underwear on when he was a kid. So my dad thought it would be funny to take his cold ass hands and put them on my brother's back. And he does it. And my brother whips around and he's like, Dad, don't touch me like that. He screams it and they're surrounded by other campers, of course. And he's like, oh, I don't know, I'm touching you with my cold hands on your back because it's cold. I thought it'd be funny. Not touching you like that.
Oh my God.
If we're just going down the brain train route. One time when I was little, I was in my mom took me in the bathroom stall with her, and it was like a crowded bathroom, and she like pulled down her pants to go pee, and I screamed, why is it so hairy?
A girl I babysat asked her mom why she has a front butt.
When Kat's little brother was here, he and I were doing like dirty talk, like a competition. Like I was calling him like toilet face and stuff, and like it like escalated. And his final one was, he just looked at me and he was like trying not to laugh, and he just called me women's vaginas, as if that was like the worst one.
Oh my God, it is women's pussy vaginas.
Yeah, he called you a pussy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he did. And you should consider it an honor because women's vagina pussies do the most.
Yeah.
They do.
Not mine. No kids here.
Yeah, mine does the bare minimum. All right, well, we need to get back on track.
Yeah,
And
we went way off. We like wrecked the car.
this one's going to be a nightmare for poor Alec to edit. Anyway, in English, swear words are most often either 4 or 8 letters. Letters.
Oh, leathers.
I mean, maybe that too. They tend to be one syllable, and that syllable is usually closed, meaning it ends in a consonant and not a vowel, so it's like a little more harsh. Historically, swear words take the shape of whatever is most taboo or offensive at the time. So back in medieval times, religion was taken extremely seriously. So to swear to God or say something like, God damn that man, was highly offensive and taken literally. Another side note, I used to like go to youth group and vacation Bible school and Christian horse camp, even though like I was not raised in a church.
Christian horse camp?
We've talked about Christian horse camp on this podcast.
I knew you went to like Christian stuff. For some reason, I'm not recalling Christian horse camp.
We've definitely talked about Christian horse camp.
That was my ADHD medicine brain.
Yeah.
I'm a different person now.
So like I really doubled down on how cool I was by going to Christian horse camp. Anyway, I used to go to these things. I was not raised Christian. And so I used to like say, oh my God, all the time because that's what my mom said. And I used to get in trouble constantly at these like religious events for saying, oh my God. And I never understood why I was getting in trouble. Anyway.
I know a girl who that happened to. Her dad like took her by the arm and was like, what did you just say? And she's like, Nothing.
Yeah, you're like, I didn't even realize that was a bad thing to do. Who's God? I don't even fucking know the guy.
Well, she's a woman. I'll tell you that.
I thought you were talking about your friend. I was like, okay.
Nice flex.
No. Keep up.
Women's vaginas.
As the years went on, religion lost some of its power, and the most offensive things in society turned to excrement and sex. So that's where we get words like fuck. There's a belief that fuck started out as an acronym for fornication under consent of the king, because you'd get married, the king would like have to technically consent to your marriage, and then you could have sex. But this theory is inaccurate. Another theory is that it came from the German word ficken, which means to rub. So that's a possibility.
Okay, I like that. I freaking love it.
I freaking love it. Unfortunately, this is also unlikely because Old English didn't typically borrow words from German, but it sometimes did, so it's possible.
My thighs be ficken. In shorts, definitely. In skirts, 100%.
Stop trying to make ficken happen. It's not going to happen.
It's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. That's right. I'm conquering my eating disorder. I'm bringing ficken back. I'm bringing ficken back.
Yeah. Another possibility is that it came from the Vikings back when they invaded England in 787. The Vikings had a word fucka, which means the same thing as fuck. It meant to have sex. So that's also a possibility. Or it could simply have been an Old English word that was not borrowed from anyone. But it's really hard to figure out the origins of curse words because they are slang. They are casual and they are not written down. The word mostly disappeared from all writings by about 1500, and from 1795 to 1965, it was not in any dictionaries. The times it was written down, it was sometimes in people's surnames. So there was a guy named John LeFucker, which is amazing. Yeah. And it also appears in old writings occasionally, but usually just in like annotations or diaries and not official scripts. So it's very few and far between, hard to trace. Another hard to trace word is the word shit. There's another misconception that shit is also an acronym for ship high in transit. This is bullshit. This is not true.
And it's boring.
Yeah. Why would you even make up such a stupid lie?
You wouldn't.
Well, people did.
Well, you're right. You're right on that.
I'm fucking right.
I need dinner is what I need. I need dinner right
yes,
fucking now.
You do. We need to drive through somewhere on the way home and get you dinner. Anyway, the word, and this is not true because the word shit was used for like at least 1,000 years before the word transit was even a word in the English language. Instead, we think shit can be traced to a language from what's the modern day Ukraine. There, people had a word ski, which meant to cut or slice. And when people came from the Ukraine to England, over time, ski became skit. And then in Old English, that word slice started to mean to cut one off, as in you poop. Like it's an expression for pooping, cut one off.
Oh my God. We had this dog who ate tennis balls and we would literally have to cut the poop from its butthole because it was all attached by the rubber in the
Oh my God.
balls.
That's horrifying.
Yeah.
Why'd you give your dog tennis balls?
You know what? Actually,
You really had to think about that one.
It wasn't our dog. I remember the memory is at our house, but we were dog watching.
Oh.
Yeah, and our dogs had tennis balls, and we were dog watching our neighbor's dog. Yeah, it wasn't our dog. Also, I clearly
They just keep feeding their dog tennis balls and letting it poop them out.
they're like, so what if we like cutting poop from our dog's anus? What about it?
Your parents are like acting like farmers, like they're like farming the tennis balls from their dog's anus.
That was at the same time that I dropped a bag of popcorn in the yard and we had corn stalks growing. So maybe
Really?
it was, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was the addition. It was probably the fertilized tennis ball poop that made the corn kernels from the popcorn bag grow so well.
You all had quite the operation happening.
And you know what? Around that time, about a year earlier, I remember the exact moment I realized that the middle finger meant fuck you. because me and my stepsister, not my stepsister at the time, but my now stepsister, we were walking through the neighborhood and someone had a bumper sticker that was like a middle finger going up. And she was like, don't look at that.
Oh my
and
God.
I was like, what? What does it mean? I'm like, I know it's bad. What does it mean? And she was like, it means fuck you.
Nice.
And I was like, oh my God.
Do you remember when people used to have shocker stickers on their
Yes.
car? Like they'd drive like a souped up Subaru with a shocker sticker.
Yeah, and their entire trunk was just their subwoofers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was like, do you remember that fucking brand? It was called like Fox or something.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like the skater brand. And they'd have like, oh my God.
That was them. Yeah, it's a whole brand.
The worst kind of person.
Yeah, they drink, what energy drink is it? Monster?
Probably
Yeah.
Monster. Actually,
Red
I
Bull.
think Red Bull for the Subaru people. Monster is for like the lifted truck.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they mingle.
Yeah, there's definitely an intersection. There's definitely like hick Subaru people, at least in my hometown.
I've never met these hick Subaru people you speak of. So
Okay, well,
must be a hipster thing.
I grew up in a place where they existed, and it was quite the event.
It's like Nipsters, but not.
Pretty much. And so like there's this expression, cut one off, as in pooping. So you'd say like, I have to skit, as in I have to shit. And like eventually that SC sound turned into a sh sound, and we have the word shit. The word dick originally was like a generic word for man, like, you know, every Tom, Dick, and Harry, like that kind of a thing. It meant like fella, but now of course it means penis. The first use of it as an insult, at least written down, was in a 1654 play where they were calling someone thou feeble dick.
You feeble man.
Yeah.
What a great insult.
I know.
Just to like probably call someone what they are.
Right.
And they know. They must know that it's an insult.
They were calling someone a basic white boy, thou feeble dick, because dick just meant basic.
Love it.
I love
so
it too.
much.
They were really doing something
That's
there.
the Hayley seal of approval. Did you ever read Dick and Jane books?
No.
Oh, I
Did
did.
you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Big
Weren't
time.
those like from like the 50s?
Yeah, we had this thick ass book full of Dick and Jane books. And that's what I learned to read on. That and Junie B. Jones.
I
And
loved Junie B. Jones.
That's what it's like growing up in Ohio.
I read it. Did you ever read the Fudge books? It was
No.
pretty much like Junie B. Jones, but like the protagonists were boys. And I read those a lot.
No, sounds great though.
Yeah,
Maybe
it was
I'll
like-
check them out.
It was
Maybe I'll
this,
read them.
It was this kid, Peter, and he had a little brother named Fudge who was crazy.
Aw.
I loved them. Anyway, pussy was originally a term of endearment for women. Like it was like calling someone pussycat. And it first appeared in print, alluding to a vagina in 1699. Get this, it was a poem about a man who couldn't please his much younger wife in bed. So he hired a young guy to quote unquote feed her pussy as a euphemism for dicking her down.
Okay. Okay. So somehow I got transferred from feeding it to eating it.
Yeah, but I think like feeding it as in putting his dick
given
into
the sausage.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yes, I see.
Yes,
Everything
yes,
is
yes,
clear
yes.
now. Uh-huh.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone.
Also the year 1969. That's very good.
1699.
Yeah, 16. Oh, I thought you said
You said
16.
1969.
I thought you said 1669.
Oh,
But
no,
turns
that would have
out
been better.
I was wrong at every level.
But you were close because it does have a 6-9 in it. There is a 6 next to a 9.
every step I take, every
The
move
word
I make.
Pussy was first used in 1969. We landed on the moon and started using the word pussy.
It was a great year.
Yeah.
The best, really.
The summer of 69.
I got my first real pussy.
Bought it at the 5 and dime.
Played until my pussy bled.
Finker's blood actually makes more sense.
Yeah.
Man, this is a musical episode.
We just created an alternate universe, and I hope you all are proud.
we created a musical. Let's take it to Broadway.
Got my first real pussy.
Pussy 69 Broadway on Broadway.
And pussy is spelled with $signs. Anyway.
God.
But when it's spelled with $signs, you have to pronounce it with a lisp, whether you have one or
Pussy.
not.
Why?
That's the rule.
All right.
Because if not, then it's too cool. You can't take yourself too seriously.
Oh my gosh. So it was first written down referring to a vagina in 1699, but it actually goes way further back than that. So there's a Low German word called Puss, which refers to both a cat and a vagina. Like it's interchangeable. So pussy has been a sexual term for a really long time.
Okay, who was the person who decided that it could be both?
The Germans, I guess. I don't know.
Why though? I just
We'll call him Wolfgang. I don't know. What's a generic German name?
I just hope that one day
Gertrude.
when we die, I want to get all the answers.
Yes.
And that's a big question I have. I didn't realize it might be top 10 now. It might be one of my top 10 questions.
I think we need to reach sainthood, and then we'll go to heaven and we'll be all knowing, and we can have a podcast in heaven where people just write in any question from like any period in time and we know the answer.
You know what? I would rather have a podcast from hell.
Okay.
And not like same premise, but podcast from hell where it's just basically what we're doing right now, but there are no rules because we're in hell.
That sounds better. And also, if podcast from hell isn't already a thing, we need to make it.
Okay. Let's make it. Let's make it.
That's a good name for a
what are we
podcast.
gonna do?
I don't know. It'd just be really annoying. We're going to do what we already do, but we'll have a cooler name.
Just more drunk.
Yeah, just more drunk. Exactly. That's perfect. The word rooster was actually invented so people could avoid saying cock because it's confusing. Okay. I'm not explaining this very well.
Rooster was made so that people could stop saying rooster and start saying like.
Yes.
Which makes no sense also.
No. My next bullet point, I didn't put this in order very well, but basically like in English, animal words are usually the oldest. So it was curious, why did rooster not emerge until the 18th century? And that's because by then cock was being used to refer to male anatomy and people were uncomfortable calling their roosters cocks. So the word rooster was invented, and rooster meant one who roosts, like a male chicken.
Because God forbid we recognize the body parts of humans.
Okay, but I also would feel uncomfortable calling a cat a pussy. That's probably what it felt like to people.
Do it all the time.
I know, but I'm not gonna be telling my students about my cats. I'm like, oh, my pussy was so cute this morning.
My God.
That's why there's another word for it.
My pussy was purring all night.
Yes, fucking you can't say it.
Okay, that's true. But also it feels like there's a tinge of shame about body
absolutely.
parts.
That's why body parts are curse words. It's because they're taboo and they shouldn't necessarily be, but they are in our culture. Anyway, the word motherfucker does not have as long of a history as some of these other words, though cursing someone's mother as an insult seems to be has a pretty long tradition. Your mama jokes go way back.
Oh, yeah. I remember exchanging yo mama jokes on the bus all throughout middle school. In the morning, who wakes up and at 6:30 in the morning is telling yo mama jokes?
Yeah.
This girl.
Damn, it's 7 a.m.
Yes, way too early.
Too early.
It's too early for that, young Hayley.
I am a middle school teacher, and they come in my room at 7 a.m. Just
guns a-blazing.
Guns a-blazing.
Yeah.
So, your mama jokes. In a 1831 newspaper article, they reported that there was a set of conjoined twins who were assaulted by a man who used quote-unquote opprobrious epithets in relation to their mother. So
epithets.
Thank you. So he was insulting their mother. Motherfucker was probably not used in this altercation specifically. It specifically appeared in print for the first time in the late 19th century. And the earliest record of motherfucker was in 1890 when the Texas Court of Appeals reported someone saying, quote, "that goddamn motherfucking bastardly son of a bitch." So that's a fun line.
I feel like the song Stacy's Mom really revolutionized the term motherfucker.
Yeah?
You know?
You think
So,
that
like,
was the first time?
I don't know, but I think it's the first time that I can remember.
Okay.
You know? Like,
They don't say motherfucker in that
Yeah.
song, right?
I know, but I'm saying like
Conceptually.
to do someone's mom.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's more than one-upping someone. That's like
absolutely. It is owning
them. Yeah. Like, I'm your daddy now.
I am your daddy. Absolutely. Anyway, the bottom line to this is that the origin of swear words are very difficult to trace because, of course, they're taboo and casual, so they're not found in formal writings, and typically formal writings are mostly the ones that survive. But these days, there's actually a lot of scholarly research dedicated to swearing, so we're just going to go over some of the research-based information that we have on cursing. There's a misconception that men swear more than women, but these days, I mean, that may have been true a while ago, but now research says that that's not true, though studies do show that both men and women judge women's cursing more harshly. So,
amongst other things.
yes, amongst many things. I don't think that's a shocking revelation.
Yeah. I do know one thing that I've seen on the internet multiple times is that studies show that people who cuss more have higher intelligence.
Yeah, I have a line about that in here. We'll
great.
get to it. Swearing is typically associated with negative emotions. I don't think that's a surprise either. There was an analysis of tweets that found that 21.83% of tweets containing a swear word were expressing sadness and 16.79% were expressing anger, which I thought was interesting that there's more for sadness than anger. People swear more aggressively in their non-native tongue. So there was a study done on bilingual people that found they used more offensive profanities in their second language than their native one. I felt like that was interesting.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here speculating why. Like, is it because like you may not know as your second language, you may not know the weight that the words you're saying carry in that language?
I think that might be part of it. Like you're more like you treat another language that you don't have as much understanding of a little more casually, maybe. I don't know. It was just like an interesting fact. And actually, that wasn't statistically significant. It was an observation, but statistically, like it wasn't like enough to make like a hard judgment, except in the case of racial slurs. So you are less likely to use a racial slur that in your own language than you are someone else's language.
Yeah, because not only is it a racial slur, but you're a step away. Since like A, you don't understand the weight that it carries. It's more casual. And I mean, obviously you're racist if you're calling someone by a racial slur.
Totally. Like I think it is the degree of separation that you feel using a different language. So that's just interesting. According to Wikipedia, people say an average of 80 to 90 swear words a day. That's about 0.5% to 7.5% of the words you say per day, varying from 0% in some people to a high of 3.4%. And this seems really high to me, 80 to 90 words a day. I don't think I swear that much.
In my mind, I definitely do.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Out loud?
Oh, in your
think so.
mind.
In
I
my mind, yeah.
thought you meant like never mind. Never mind. I'm drunk. Anyway, but basically swearing is incredibly common. And why is it so common? Because it feels good. In most people, language is generated on the left side of the brain, which is associated with logic, motor functions, and math. But when we say a swear word, the right side of our brain lights up. And the right side of your brain is more associated with emotion. So in a sense, cuss words aren't necessarily words. They're an expression of emotion. And this research actually dates back to the Victorian era when doctors observed that people who suffered left brain injuries and lost their ability to speak could still curse.
That's crazy.
Isn't
The
that
brain
wild?
is so weird. I love
know.
it. And I hate it at the same time.
It is weird. And the people who had these injuries and could still curse, they could also say childhood reprimands and terms of endearment. So it seems like just words that are strongly associated with emotion are stored in a different part of the brain, and they were still able to access those words.
Language is so crazy.
I know.
Like the craziest bitch.
It really is. And this expression of emotion through swearing can actually reduce pain. A study by Richard Stevens and Ollie Robertson of Keele University and the University of Oxford. My goodness. Awkward. Found that saying the word fuck increases pain tolerance by 33% as opposed to the control group who, instead of saying fuck, they said fouch or twizz pipe. And these fake words had no effect on their pain tolerance.
That's like, I mean, no offense to people who don't use cuss words, but like, there are people who just use replacement words for cuss words, and it's like, just say it, honey, just say it.
I mean, if you're not comfortable saying it, whatever, but like you're not going to get the same satisfaction from saying freak instead of fuck. Like, it's just not
that's just me being like a peer pressure, like just say it. Just do it.
Just fucking
just
say it.
Just one time.
Our roommate Kelly does not really swear, and she came into the house today and I heard her say, "I'm so pissed," and I was in my room like, yes, Kelly.
Yes. Say it. I love that for you, Kelly.
I mean, I'm not happy that whatever happened that made her pissed happened, but like I'm glad she said pissed.
Like to express yourself fully.
Yes.
Like with the language, as long as you're not like, using a racial epithet or, being like destructive to another person. Like, but to be able to like, I'm fucking pissed.
Yeah. And it really does help. Another study found that those who swore while pedaling bikes at an incline had more strength than those who didn't curse, who used neutral words. Another study found that people who cursed while squeezing a hand vise were able to squeeze harder and longer. The way this works is because cursing produces a stress response that triggers a defensive reflex, and this releases adrenaline. And it also sparks something called the analgesic response. What this does is reduce how much pain you feel. And so this is important evolutionarily because it makes you a better fighter. So when you're triggered by something, you have this aggressive response and it makes it so your body doesn't feel as much pain, so you can fight. And cursing does this for you. It triggers this emotional aggressive response. Like you said earlier, cursing may also be a sign of intelligence. I'm not sure about this study, at least not the one I'm citing. It seems like a little bit of a stretch, but basically there was a 2015 study where people were asked to come up with as many words as they could, starting with A, S, and F. And then after they did that, they were asked to do the same thing, but only with swear words. Those who came up with the most words overall also came up with the most swear words. So the study kind of concluded that if you have a better vocabulary, you also swear more, which I don't necessarily think those things match up.
They can't draw that conclusion.
Yeah, it might just be that you're better at generating words. So I think that that's where this idea that it's associated with a higher intelligence comes from. So I don't necessarily know if that's true, but there was also a 2017 study that found that people who swear more tend to be more honest. Those who curse lie less and have higher levels of integrity overall. So maybe higher emotional intelligence. That's good. Cursing, ironically, may protect us from violence, because it allows for this emotional aggressive response without physically fighting. So you can say, fuck you, instead of punching someone.
Always a good option. Always opt for the F you over punching someone.
Absolutely.
Or a wall. Never punch a wall.
Oh, I mean, don't punch a living thing. That's the worst thing you can do. But punching a wall is a close second. Like, you just look like the ultimate douche.
Yeah, it's almost worse. It's not.
It's not. But it does make you look really bad.
Yeah, don't punch anything.
Yeah, just keep your fist to yourself.
But if you punch a wall, like,
yeah, I just hate aggressive responses, especially from men. Like when a man screams too loud, it like triggers something in me where I just want to run away.
Yeah, I want to run away, and I want to make sure everybody gets the mental health education and services.
Yeah, you just go
that
into
they
therapist
need.
mode.
Yeah. I'm like, on a scale of 1 to 5, how frustrated do you feel right now?
Right. Let's sit down and rate our feelings on a numerical scale. That will help.
Let's breathe. I know some good yin yoga we can get into.
Yin
Hold
yoga.
on, I have a list. Like, pull up my YouTube.
Man.
Yin yoga is basically just staying in one pose for several minutes at a time.
Oh my God. That sounds, unless it's Shavasana, that sounds terrible.
Well, technically you could do yin yoga and Shavasana. I do it every night for approximately 6 to 8 hours.
Same. Maybe we could do some cats and cows for more than a minute. That might be
Well,
nice.
not cats and cows, just like literally laying in like a supine twist and like things like
Okay,
yeah,
that sounds nice. Back to my lesson because this is going long. Even chimpanzees swear.
Aw.
Hand-raised chimps were taught the sign language for poo so they could tell researchers when they needed to use the bathroom. And as soon as they learned the poo sign, they began using it as a swear word. Like when they were angry at another chimpanzee, they'd like sign poo at them.
That's funny. I mean, the way I would think of it would be that they think, okay, pooing is like, we don't want to have poo around us. Like,
Yeah.
it's stinky, it's bad, like,
Exactly.
and dear poo.
And in the wild, like when they're angry at each other, they will throw their poo. And so instead of doing that, they'll sign it at each other. The really cool thing about this is it was studied, like they'd take these chimps that knew sign language and then they'd have them raise their own babies away from people and they would pass down these signs and use them as profanity.
Oh my gosh, that is so cute.
I know, it's so cute and kind of scary because I don't like that they're so smart. I feel like that's a little scary.
I mean, I don't think it needs to be scary.
It's scary to me.
Why is it scary?
I don't know. I just don't like when things are too smart. Like I'm terrified of octopuses.
You should be terrified of AI.
I am.
During my research this week, I saw an article that was like AI is now learning how to create itself.
No, I hate it. Also, we have done that because we are living in a simulation. We are the result.
Yeah, history repeats itself, so
Yep.
fuck it.
It's just the Matrix. It's simulation inside simulation.
Simmons. I updated your sim, by the way, but I forgot to take a picture.
Yay! Okay, I'm really excited to see her. And I need to play Sims with you. So swearing is universal. It not only crosses human cultures, but also species. Some cultures do not swear, at least not as aggressively as others. There's this belief that the Japanese don't have swear words, and that's partially true. They don't have swear words equivalent to the magnitude of like fuck and cunt. They have like words that can translate to stupid, but like it's a little more muted. It's not quite as aggressive. There's a Japanese baseball player called Ichiro Suzuki who I think played on the Mariners. What up, Seattle? And he learned Spanish and English during his career. And is quoted saying that he likes Western languages because they allow him to say things he otherwise can't. So, swear words are pretty awesome. I'm glad we have them. Speaking of that, I'm just going to end my lesson talking about some of the more interesting swear words and obscenities from other languages.
Let's hear it. I'm so pumped.
This is going to be really tough because I don't know how to speak any of these languages, and I'm going to try to pronounce things. So I thoroughly apologize for everything that's about to happen. In Portugal, you can say Cona da May Street, which translates to your mother's vagina street. And that's an insult.
Okay. She's got a whole street.
She does.
More than a hallway. You're throwing a hot dog down the
your
street.
mother's vagina street. Oh, that makes sense. Like saying your mother is a whore, like that she has a loose vagina. I didn't even pick up on that. I was like, that's weird. Anyway.
You're like, who knows why language develops the way it does? Streets, roads, boulevards, what's next?
Right. And I also feel obligated to say that the tightness of your vagina has nothing to do with how much sex you've had. That is a misconception. If you want to insult someone in France non-verbally, you can slap your bicep and at the same time jerk your forearm toward your face like this. I'm sure we all know that. In Sweden, curses that talk about the devil and hell are more popular than sexually based profanity. Again, it has to do with the taboo in the particular culture. So instead of saying fuck you, you might say Fanta dog, which means may the devil take you, which I think is way scarier than fuck you.
You know what? In the US, it should be talking or referring to anything of Donald Trump. It should be that should be a curse word.
I agree. That's much worse than
You
most
really
things.
trumped that up.
Nice. Here's some fun Russian ones. You can say konv palto, which means horse in a coat. Basically, that's a rude way of saying none of your business. None of your business.
Okay.
Horse in a coat.
I mean, yeah, why have a horse in a coat when you could just drink vodka and not need a coat?
And mind your own fucking business.
Yeah, just be a horse. You're a fucking horse in a coat. Take your business elsewhere because this isn't yours.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening anymore. Not your business, horse.
Friggin' horse.
Fucking horse. You can say parot podzulupnea, which means pee hole dandruff.
Whoa.
AKA, you're crusty.
Yeah.
And you need a shower.
It means you're a crusty, musty hoe who needs to get in the shower right now.
Yeah. And don't use Summer's Eve. You don't need it. Like, literally all you need is water.
Yes. Please don't put Summer's Eve up your vagina. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Anything fragrance should not be up there.
Yeah,
I'm not a doctor, but I'm telling you right now.
I know. Don't.
You just need water.
Avoid.
She cleans herself. Self-service.
Self-cleaning. It's like those litter boxes that automatically scoop themselves.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Pretty litter. That's what you got. Don't mess it up.
Don't screw up that pH, girl.
Girl, you got pretty litter. Look at that. Beep.
Pretty pussy.
There we go.
Anyway, you can also say hois glory, which means penis from the mountains. Don't know what that means.
Means is rock hard.
Maybe.
I'm decoding all of these.
You're doing a really good job.
I just have a dirty mind.
None of this occurred to me. You can say chop tebe dete vusup israeli. I did a great job.
Imagine saying that to someone exactly as you said it as an insult.
They
like,
wouldn't know what I was saying because
They're
it probably
like,
sounds nothing like what it's supposed to sound.
You want me to do what in the huh?
I mean, pretty
you're
much.
asking a question.
Do you want to guess what it means?
Say it again.
Chop tebe dete vusup israeli.
I'm gonna chop up your peen and put it in the blender.
Almost. May your children shit in your soup.
Wow, Hayley was pretty close.
Yeah, she was.
You know what? I think I found and you know what? That makes sense. If English is not my first language, then cursing would be my first language, English being my second.
Yeah, you've really done a great job co-teaching this lesson with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Can you imagine us actually co-teaching a real school lesson
That's
together?
my dream.
That'd be
I'm
so fun.
I'm gonna get your certification so we can do that. In Spanish, you can say pagafantas, which means a man who pays for all your Fanta drinks.
Fanta, like the soda?
Yeah. So it's like calling someone a cuck, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can say cueto fola un pez, which means get fucked by a fish. You can say to
Wait, fishes don't fuck though.
apparently, and
They lay eggs.
maybe that's like worse.
Yeah, like you don't even. You're not getting anything.
Fishes fuck.
No, they don't.
They like squirt their sperm on each other.
Yeah. No, they don't fuck though.
Some
they do
fish they don't like hump, but they have sexual intercourse in a fish way.
What is the origin of fuck for rubbing together?
Ficken.
They ficken.
Yeah. Some fish just like squirt out their sperm and it like happens to go into the female fish, or they just squirt their sperm directly on the eggs and fertilize them that way.
Oh, I thought it was all the latter.
I don't think so. I think some fish do it another way, but maybe I'm thinking of birds. I don't know. I don't know why I'm pretending to know things about fish right now, because I don't.
The only reason I thought that was because Zach was telling us about how he was teaching his students about how fish have sex.
Yeah,
And they were
salmon
like,
reproduce
whoa.
by squirting their sperm on the eggs. I don't know. I don't know how other fish do it. It does not matter.
Next lesson. How fish reproduce.
Fish sex. Great idea. There's an expression in Spain, tu puta madre en bicicleta, which means your whore mom on a bike. In German, you can say Arschgeige, which means a butt violin. You can say
Like a fart.
maybe. I don't know. You can say Hackfresche, which means a face like ground meat. Or you could say, that's a mean one.
Yeah, that's the roughest of them all.
Or you could say Korinsenkacker, which means raisin pooper.
You're constipated, loser. You're freaking raisin pooper.
LOL.
That would be a good lawyer's office. Raisin and pooper.
Yes, it would. The bottom line, I think, is that there's nothing wrong with swearing as long as you know your audience and can turn it off and on. The real words we shouldn't say are offensive slurs. And to all the TikTok commenters telling me not to swear, you can go fuck yourselves. And that was my lesson.
Thank you so fucking much for that.
You're welcome. I want to give a big shout out to Wikipedia, a New York Post article called Origins of the Naughtiest Swear Words in the English Language by Reed Tucker, frontiersin.org, CNN.com, Babbel.com, National Geographic, a Mental Floss article called 5 Surprising Facts About Swearing by Arika Orkent. I got a little bit of information from a Netflix series called The History of Swear Words, hosted by Nick Cage, but it was fucking terrible, so I only got through 10.
Cage,
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
Yes. We're on a nickname basis, but this Netflix series was so bad. I only watched 10 minutes of it and then couldn't do any more. But I did get like 2 bullet points from it, so shout out.
There you go.
If you're into like old Comedy Central, like those shows that are in the style of like Girl Code, like where they're doing like the comedians are like riffing to the camera and it's just a whole lot of just riffing, you might like it. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but
it wasn't Girl Code.
Shout out. Yeah, it wasn't. It was whatever. It's go watch it if you want. Anyway, so shout out to my sources. Thank you. And thank you to all of you for listening. If you like this, rate, review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on social media. We are on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, all the social medias. Tell a friend about our podcast and maybe even check out our Patreon for some extra content and to support us and keep us going. Thank you for listening. And 3, 2, 1, class dismissed.